Bonjour tout le monde.
Buongiorno a tutti.
Je m'appelle Aya.
Und ich heiße Emil.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Baumgärtner.
My name is Isabelle Fenton.
And we have the honor to represent and introduce our class today.
Bonjour tout le monde. Nous faisons partie de l'équipe espagnole. Je m'appelle Elena.
Good morning, everybody. We are part of the Spanish team. I'm Cristina.
Hello, we are from the Czech Republic. No, not from Czechoslovakia, but the Czech Republic. You can't imagine how many times we've heard this mistake being made.
Hello everybody here, my new friends from all over the Europe.
This is a huge honor to speak here. Let's enjoy this day because it's going to be memorable.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for us to be here in the European Parliament.
Welcome to France, everyone.
What can we say about France? Some will say that we are arrogant. Others will say that we are narrow-minded. But these drawbacks don't prevent us to be European citizens like you. Because our country wants to be important in European policy in order to support the Union.
So what does Europe mean to us? Europe means a grand historical experiment to undo presumptions, misconceptions, stereotypes, and prejudice, and replace all of these with altruism, humanism, and pacifism. Our power lies upon the unity not only of our states, but especially of our peoples, which is exactly what the founding persona of the EU, Jean Monnet, once said. We are not forming coalitions of states, we are uniting men.
Hello, I'm Afonso, the Portuguese speaker in this Euroscola session. Today, speaking of this democracy house constitutes a huge challenge for us. However, it's a small challenge when compared to the role we must have on the defense and development of the region where we live.
We realize how Europe's support is essential to guarantee our continent's safety and the respect of all human rights.
Considering that the European Commission plays a significant executive role, and also keeping in mind that only the European Parliament is directly elected by the citizens, I would like to ask you, don't you think that in order to reinforce the democratic character of the Union, the President of the Commission should be elected by the members of the European Parliament? And if so, why has this amendment not been made yet?
You have mentioned that one of the duties of the European Commission is to ensure if member states follow the legislation that has been enacted. To what extent member states follow the legislation, and what kind of ratifications have to encounter in case of disobedience to the rules?
I have to raise a quite similar question to a previous one. Do you believe that after the Lisbon Treaty, the part the European citizens play in the EU is enough for them to be heard and considered while taking important decisions?
My question is, what are the actions that the EU is taking about the situation in Ukraine?
Turkey has been a candidate country, if I'm not mistaken, since 1971, and they still aren't in the European Union. I know it is an easy question, but how long it will take their integration process?
So there's no doubt that the EU already gets involved in crises all around, going on all around the world. But do you personally think that the EU should care more and involve more in crises which are going on in mostly third world countries?
So economists widely agree that the GFC's main cause would be, apart from the Asian gland, the great inequalities between creditors and debtors. In the meantime, Australia, the least affected country by the Great Recession, would achieve better fronting the issue by pouring money into the local community and investing into long-term infrastructure projects as well as in education. So we're asking, why is the EU supporting a policy that is not only based in austerity instead of long-term infrastructures, but is also greatening the gap, the imbalances between the North and the so-called pigs? And we're also asking, from who or from what does this policy derive? Thank you.
I wanted to know, what do you think about the problem with the Roma people, and how does the European Parliament help them?
After different spy cases between different European countries, can we still talk about trust and consistency within the European Union or not?
Recently, as you all know, more than 900 illegal immigrants died in the Strait of Sicily. And thinking about the possible solutions, I agree that a big part has to go in prevention. And so in this sense, shouldn't we stress the collaboration with non-governative organizations such as the World Food Programme, for example? And another question, how do other European countries actually help Italy in this case, in this emergency, in terms of resources?
I'm going to ask you what is the real position of the European Union about the horrible illness of the Italian olive trees that is called Xylella fastidiosa, which is killing all these in the southeast of Italy. Thank you.
Given the high rate of youth unemployment in the EU, are we facing the danger of a wasted generation that soon will be too old and inexperienced to become employed?
Since there's people leaving to fight for terrorist organizations, why are we letting them get back into Europe?
According to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which allows 5 countries in total to have nuclear weapons, 2 or 3 of which I believe are part of the European Union, do you not believe that the fact that these 2 or 3 countries are allowed to have nuclear weapons might create a sense of inequality amongst the European states? Thank you.
I would like to know why the Treaty of Dublin is still executive and it is not modified or replaced. The system presented by the treaty does not provide a good protection for the migrants, and often they must wait years to receive the authorization, so immigrants choosing an easier solution, agreeing to travel to disastrous conditions. I think it is a treaty that is not suitable for our international situation. Thanks.
Now, awareness campaigns also on recycling household waste. And in order to improve motivation here, for instance, what could do is to reduce the tax that has to be paid for the collection of refuse in the various areas of a town, if they are properly recycled. Also the use of biodegradable bags, paper bags. Instead of the plastic bags that are used in supermarkets, you use them for just a couple of minutes or a couple of hours and you throw them away, but they will last forever. There's a European organization or a European day to clean up the environment, European Cleaning Day, for instance. Wouldn't that be a good idea in order to elicit interest in a great deal of people?
You want to replace the plastic bags for paper bags, but I mean paper bags are made of paper, which is made from trees, and trees are disappearing on all the world. What would you do about that?
Well, I think that the nursery plantations where trees are grown, I mean, that they're specially grown for bags, and I don't think it's so bad because after all, I mean. There's rain as well, and they are rained upon. I mean, I think the plastic bags are much worse than paper bags because what happens is they land in the sea, and that means that the fish and sea animals get completely destroyed by them.
Promote the EU law under which foreign aid to third countries may be reduced or discontinued, wholly or politically, if such countries fail to respect international law, human rights and the rule of law. Also advise developing countries using scientific research and expand the EU trade relations with North America, the Middle East, Asia, especially developing countries with capacity and potential, and support not by spending money but by opening markets with products and services to developing countries. Also, the problem with donating money is that the donated money is lost by corruption, and EU could be fixing this by monitoring where the money is being spent, and you could host events between EU and non-EU countries, so there wouldn't be any conflicts between cultures and races. And also targeted scholarships should be made so the unemploying rate could be reduced.
Before wanting to save countries outside the European Union, how about trying to save the European Union itself?
I would like just to answer to this delegate question by saying that Europe has never been just about itself. We're not being self-centered here. We're trying to both develop ourselves and have a sustainable economy and be able to work for our citizens and create new jobs and support and work against the crisis that we're facing it and try to work things out. But at the same time, we shouldn't forget the humanitarian spirit of Europe. And except for that, this is why during the debate we stated that the funds should be cut, but at the same time just limited, not cut entirely.
We should have free universities, and we propose also the creation of a European university which would be located in every capital city of the European Union. And so every person from every country could move from one country to another and educate himself in the respective country. Moving on, I would like to talk about healthcare. We talked about healthcare and we said that abortion is the right of every mother. Every mother should have the choice either to carry the baby and the fetus or not to. So, and in case she can't economically raise that child and she doesn't have the funds, then it's the role of the European Union, which under criteria would provide the economical support for the mother. Last but not least, we propose the unification of Europe. We propose a federation in all of aspects: economy, laws, education. But we also propose a unification in army. We propose that there should be a united army, and let me clarify for further questions. We do not propose to attack other countries. We only propose this in order to prevent attacks from other countries and invasions, and to have better security, and to strengthen our borders, especially the Russian ones, with all these things that are going on. So, also we propose that there should be a headquarters of Europe, which would give commands to this army, and no respective headquarter of other countries should have more strength and more power over that headquarter.
Ich habe das Gefühl,
I have the impression that the EU is considered by this group as just one group, as a one nation and one kind of group. But actually, the countries which are members of the EU are actually completely different from one another. They've got different cultures, they've got different traditions, and I wonder whether this idea of having a united army would actually function or not, because I can imagine there's a great deal of criticism from all corners coming to the EU, and it isn't by far as stable as as has been suggested. So do you think it would be a good idea if people were to get together and instead of the EU, well, were to try to deal with these things at a political and a national level?
So, first of all, let me explain that, yes, we really think that the European Union is a group. And exactly as you stated, each country is different and has a different culture. But that doesn't mean that every citizen of every respective country has a European identity. Every country has citizens of European identity and the respective country's mentality. So, the proposal of an army that would be a federal army, as we already said, would be a very good idea. And the fact that Europe was created to prevent wars, I think that it suits its goals to create a federal army, because that's what it wants to do, to raise economical levels in Nordic countries and to prevent also wars everywhere.
In this era of dissemination of constant information that we live, we have agreed, especially on the fact that propaganda, political and financial interests exist. We can't stop them from existing as the European Union. What we have to do is to aim to an objective information on politically aware citizens. We, as a team, have proposed a fair solution about that. That is the establishment of a European channel. The European Union is urged to establish and fund a European channel which will have a journalist from all member states. In that channel, European matters will be discussed. We also proposed the existence of some emissions on matters such as economy, education, critical matters that concern every citizen. There, normal citizens could have the possibility to participate and express their opinions so that they start to feel European citizens, feel that a problem that every member state has today could be tomorrow their problem, and we could solve it.
Excuse me, but I'm from Greece. I think that people in the EU, citizens, are actually alarmed of what is going on. People protest every day in streets, in squares, are coming here in the European Parliament and protest because they are alarmed of what is going on. I believe that those people who are really into what is going on are not interested in just expressing themselves through this channel. It is face-to-face. It's a try, but it is evident. What's the matter? What's the point in a channel being made for them to express themselves?
The channel won't be made only for European people to have the possibility to express themselves. It will be made to ensure that every information would be disseminated, that every member state could have their information disseminated. All the member states will have journalists. Journalists will work as a team. So everything from culture, science, everything that is of crucial importance to the European Union and is discussed in the European Parliament could be disseminated, and everyone should know about it.
When big amounts of immigrants come to another country, for their safety, for their life expectancies, they can't stay in one single country, but we have to bring them to other possibility of works that could be present in other member states. For example, most of developed country citizens actually want a higher level job. Therefore, there are labor holes that could be filled by those immigrants willing to work. Lastly, and most importantly, the problem of integration. In this sense, we expect and we will try to create a respect from both sides. And again, education is a key word. That means that migrants have to we have to give migrants the possibility to attend lessons in their own native language. And in this sense, we want to show them our tradition. This way, they will create a balance between their native point of view and our. After this, they would gain respect. We would gain respect from them, and they would be proud to be part of the EU.
Au-delà du fait que je suis d'accord avec l'intégralité des points.
Over and beyond the fact that I do agree with most of the points you've made, There's one point I'd like to go back to, and that is the migration flows, particularly illegal migration, that is to say the cemetery which the Mediterranean has become today. Migrants coming from the Near East, from the Middle East, I'm thinking of Syria, Libya. They're confronted today with three different types of situation. Either they come to Europe in order to try and improve their living conditions, which is perfectly legitimate, or second situation, they stay on the spot, not because they want to, but because the situation is so precarious and so miserable that there's nothing they can do apart from that. Third situation, they go into terrorism, they go into the Islamic State, they will get fed and housed and trained in the use of weapons. So in the medium term, the fact that we would welcome them here within the European Union is not just a normal, ordinary thing. It's a matter of humanity. It's just humanity. But in the long term, shouldn't we encourage dialogue with the heads of the various countries like Libya and Syria to try and improve the situation in the Middle East, knowing that there will be 5 billion people in Africa by 2050, so it's going to be an unlivable situation in the long term.
We propose that member states enhance their national curricula by further integrating career guidance and orientation classes in schools. Because as the majority of you, well, you know well, because you're finishing school, there is not efficient career guidance in schools. And that causes the really great problem of skills mismatches, and that the European citizens don't know what right now the labor market needs, and they choose professions that do not meet the requirements of the current situation. Next, we think that more attention ought to be given to vocational training and practical knowledge, especially regarding manual jobs, because there clearly is a preference for, let's say, high-paying collar jobs. And that is unfair because people also have a tendency for manual jobs, and actually they're needed.
I want to talk about the labour market itself, because we've been talking about solutions which have been put forward to provide opportunities for young people, but one of the opportunities for this, to find a job, is to find employers.
Manual jobs are underestimated, and that is a huge problem. And I would also like to state a fact that right now 2 million job positions throughout the European Union are unfilled. And this means that we don't use in the right way our workforce. So yes, there is a problem with people that have finished higher education and can't find jobs. So that is why we propose to introduce in schools career guidance in order for everyone to decide on their future profession, being aware of the current situation in the labor market.